Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We're very glad you're with us this morning. It's September 10th, 2021. Our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. I did hear about one landing that I'm aware of, and maybe there's some more out there. We'll then have everybody put their 30-second introductions into the chat box. We'll then go to our committee reports. We'll hear about workshop, job fairs, the pit crew, interview success workshop, and the career tip of the week. And then we will have our speaker for our main event. Please, everybody, if you will, please check your name to see if your full name is in the participant box. I do capture that information so I can mark everybody here on the roster in addition to using what information is put in the chat box. So if you will, if your full name is not there, please hover over the little microphone camera button. Up should come rename, and then you can go rename yourself. Marcia, I just see a first name only. So if you would be able to go and put in your last name, that would be appreciated. And then click that little blue box underneath there. It says, remember my name for future meetings. That way, whenever you're online with any of these Zoom meetings, your full name will appear. For those using Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just open up the chat box. Please use that. For those watching on Facebook right now, please just enter your questions into the comment field. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments that you put in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I started facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007. The gentleman who was leading the group at the time landed a job, and so I volunteered to take it over. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It is available on Amazon. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about the pit crew in just a few minutes. All right, we like to start the meeting off with good news. Well, I see we've got somebody who said on here that it landed. Give me just 1 second. Let me announce this other landing here first. Ricky has landed. She wants to let us know that she landed a job and wants to thank everybody for running such a good program. It was immense help, even though she did not do everything that experts suggested as a job seeker that we do, but even doing the few things at a time helped. She's landed a job, and she's grateful to everybody, the team of people who including the Dallas pit crew, who helped me with mock interviews and guiding me with what I could do better. I believe I'm fortunate in many of the ways that have moved conducting your sessions online during the pandemic. She's located in Massachusetts, and just wanted to let you know that being remote has reached a wider audience and helped many more nationwide. So once again, thank you very much. Again, thank you to your team, the Dallas pit crew, for all they're doing and help for everybody, and thanks for helping me. So that's she makes landing number 83, and let's hear from landing number 84.
Woohoo! And that was the year I graduated too, so that's actually pretty good. Brian Kaspari, I changed my name to I landed for the day. Just signed my agreement about 8 minutes ago. It's with Lifestyle Publishing, which they're a luxury publication, and I was able to get the Frisco franchising rights. And once I do this successfully, I can add to it other open franchises or failing franchises, because the one here started out well and then has been going downhill. So the awesome thing for me is I get to keep doing all the volunteer stuff that I've added to my list, from the pit crew to working with Bill Brewer and Career Care when they get back to face, and also out at South Lake Focus Group and the therapy dog stuff that we've trained our COVID puppy for. But I just want to thank you all. You know, Walt, the interview success workshop, incredibly helpful. I had a informational interview with their director of recruiting for nationally, and it was supposed to be a 30-minute call that ended up going 2.5 hours and turned into the interview because we both had time, as well as with going through the pit crew, Mark, and just everything that you guys offer and do is just phenomenal. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, I love it. My wife isn't doing cartwheels about it's 100% commission. And the profit I generate, I get to keep, kind of thing. So I won't get a paycheck till the middle of November, but my plan is for that one to be a sizable one. So I'll be able to make some very nice donations to the organizations like this one. So thank you very much. And I plan to still participate because I think there's so much good that comes from this, and it really energizes me to participate in these as well. So thank you for what y'all do.
Tell us a little bit about what it is you'll be doing, or what's the.
I'm a publisher. This is a shot at every English and language arts teacher I ever had. The first shot actually was I married one, because that's what my wife's teaching certificates are in. But I will be a publisher of the magazine, an owner publisher of the I think it's called Lifestyle Frisco magazine. It's a luxury magazine, so it's 50% ads, 50% editorial articles and stuff like that. I plan on doing a few different things, tying into the schools and youth, as well as I want to have a career section in it to where I can invite you guys to participate in it as well and do articles and editorials about different things. But it's like whatever I want to do within very, very broad parameters. And my job is 85 to 90% selling, just going out and getting to know every single business entity, especially around the higher socioeconomic ends, and then partnering with all of the other franchise owners around me for businesses in their area that my constituents go and shop at. So we don't have a Ferrari dealer yet, so I'll be going with the Richardson one to the Ferrari dealer. And then, it's really a huge networking opportunity, but it's networking with some people with access to jobs, companies, leaders of leaders type of a thing. So it's everything I love to do about work.
Well, great. How did you hear about the job?
LinkedIn email. Guy shot me an email, and I got to be honest, before all of the LinkedIn people that I've listened to on this program that you do, I used to be damn recruiters, and I wouldn't always respond to them. And he hit me up. I think it was like a Thursday, and I was out at the South Lake focus group. I got back and I shot him back. Yeah, sure. And had a 15-minute interview with him. And then he was like, hey, can I get you connected with our national director? And I was like, sure. And the next week, and then from then, I probably would have signed last Friday, but my wife is very conservative. So she had somewhere around 1,000 questions. I felt like I was in with one of the undersheriffs in their interrogation room, and they were having a practice FBI, how much can we keep them in the corner and make them sweat session. But got her, I don't want to say comfortable, but agreed that I've never failed at anything. So why would this be something that I would fail at? And it meets everything I want. I have a phenomenal team. Would you like to meet them? We're here. And I'll probably, the current owner, her editor is her daughter. So I'm thinking she won't be staying with me. So they have a process that I go through until I get an editor in place. But right away, I'll be, I already got their job description, so I'll be modifying it to fit my needs. I'm excited as can be, bouncing off the walls. I can't sell until I go through their training, which they have a really good training program, where the first part, because of COVID, they created a virtual process. So I'll do that, I think, Monday through Wednesday next week. an interactive virtual one. And then I'm set loose. And then the first week of October, I go up to Kansas City, where they're based out of, and go through another 3-day, but it's a face-to-face with any of the new publishers. And like so far this year, I think they've added 25 new franchising territories in the country. And they just signed their 100th. So it's a quickly growing company, and I'm happy as can be.
Well, great, Brian. Congratulations. Thank you very much. And thank you for continuing to participate. You said you're going to continue to help the pit crew and everybody else. That's really great. So congratulations. Do we have any other landings? Anybody else to report? Going once, going twice? Nope. All right, let's move on here. It's time for everybody to put their 30-second introductions into the chat window. A lot of people have already done that. We really, really appreciate it. So if you will open the Zoom chat window, or for those on Facebook, enter in the comment field, please put in your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, position you're looking for, comma, and 2 or 3 target companies, then hit the return key. I will get all this information. I will put it out to everybody this afternoon, and then take a look at it this afternoon or this evening or tomorrow, and see who's on the list. Who can you help? Who else is out there that's got a company that maybe you've got a lead to that you can help somebody else out? It really would be appreciated. For those people watching on Facebook, I will go delete your personal information as soon as this session is over with, so it won't hang out there forever and ever. So with 30 seconds on the clock. If you still need more time getting your information in the chat window, please take all the time you need. Get it in there. It'd really be appreciated. I will capture that information. That's also how I update our roster. For anybody who's brand new, I will capture that information and use that for the roster. All right, it's time to hear about job and career fairs, training workshops that are happening. Good morning, Eldon.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. As Jeff said, I'm about to present to you career and job fair information, as well as special workshops or events. This information can be found on the calendar tab at the website careerdfw.org, which is up on your screen right now. I do go through these things fairly quickly, so if you hear something that catches your interest, I urge you to go to the calendar, click on the appropriate tab, click on the item. Generally, you'll find more information about that item, along with links about how to register and or participate. All right, having said that, this week's career and job fairs. We're going to start out with the United Recycling event. Will be held Saturday, September 11th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, which is at 5801 West Plano Parkway in Plano. If you have electronic items, I urge you to take them over there. There is a charge for this, but if you're like me, you probably have a lot of piling up old electronic equipment that's cluttering a closet. The 2021 Rockwell Job Fair will be held Monday, September 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Lake Point Church in Rockwall. That's at 701 East Interstate 30 in Rockwall. And there is a link to find out more information about that job fair. The Denton Community Job Fair will be held Tuesday, September 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Denton Civic Center. And there is a link for more information on the calendar for that one as well. L3 Harris Engineering event will be held Tuesday, September 14th from noon to 3 p.m. And this is a virtual event, and there's a link on the website to find out more about that if you're interested in engineering at Harris. Online job fair for job seekers with disabilities and other challenges will be held Wednesday, September 15th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And there is a registration link for that one on the calendar. Amazon Career Day will be held Wednesday, September 15th from 11 a.m. to noon. This is a free event, and it is an interactive job experience. There's a registration link on the calendar for that one. The Gaylord Texan is hosting a September hiring event Wednesday, September 15th from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center, which is at 1501 Gaylord Trail in Grapevine. Applicants can park at the resort parking garage and enter through the front on the back side of the Vineyard Tower. And there is you have to apply, please apply online before attending this hiring event. And finally, there'll be another United Recycling event, electronic recycling event, held Saturday, September 18th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Christ United Methodist Church at 3101 Coit Road in Plano. And finally, there'll be another Gaylord Texan September hiring event on Saturday, September 18th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And again, they want you to apply online before attending this event. It will be held at the Gaylord Convention Center, 1501 Gaylord Trail in Grapevine. This week's special workshops or events online, excuse me. LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. This is Tuesday, September 14th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Join Locke Alderson or Terry Sullivan or Ruth Lipsky or Kurt Vondemutter each week for an online session on LinkedIn. There's a Zoom link and a Facebook link to participate. There'll be an employability with a background seminar on Tuesday, September 14th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Opening Doors for Women in Need. This is at 3600 Horn Street in Fort Worth. And there is an information link on Facebook for that one. Advanced registration is required by visiting Opening Doors prior to the seminar date. This seminar is for both men and women. Also online, the Who You Know Career Transition Summit will be held Wednesday, September 15th from 10 a.m. to noon. This is an online, there's online registration for this, and there's a link to do so. This event's hosted by Foster Williams. And if you don't know Foster, who's one of our local area recruiters, I urge you to get to know Foster. Online interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Wednesday, September 15th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. This is a workshop that's hosted by Mark McDonald, who's the leader of our pit crew, and Walt Glass, who runs our interview success workshop. This week on 9/15 is session 7, discussing compensation and the circumstances around leaving previous positions. And if you haven't participated, this is part of a 10-part series that's going on right now, and I urge you to participate in this. I believe if you haven't seen the earlier sessions, they are available, I believe, on YouTube. And there's a Zoom link and a Facebook link live for that. And I'm sure Mark will talk more about it when he comes up in just a minute. Also online, Effective Resume Seminar will be held Thursday, September 16th from 1 to 2 p.m. Join us each month on the first and third Thursdays for our Effective Resume Seminar. And you can join live on Zoom or Facebook, and there are links on the calendar to do that. And finally, online, the third Friday Internet of Things Special Interest Group Breakfast will be held Friday, September 17th. It begins at 7:40 a.m. and runs to 9 a.m. Right now, this is a virtual event, and there's a link on the calendar to find out more about those. When things return to more normal, I believe they'll go back to meeting in person, but right now everything is online. This is hosted by Mr. Hightower, and I would urge you, if you're interested in the Internet of Things, to participate in that, because those seminars are very instructive and informative. And that's it for this week.
Eldon, thank you very, very much. All right, let's see here. Whoops, there we go. If you know somebody who's unemployed, somebody who recently unemployed, somebody who maybe just needs some help, needs some guidance, point them to Career.fw and CareerUSA.org. The information, the websites have got a lot of great information to be able to help people in their job search. All right, it's time to hear from the practice interview team. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Jeff, and thank you. I'm going to put some information in the chat window there. This is how to reach me by phone, or how to reach the pit crew by email, or even how to find me on LinkedIn. So I encourage you to link in with me. Just send me a note that said we met on the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, and I'll add you to my network. And of course, that's going to help you when you get target companies and you're looking for contacts inside those companies. So it's a good idea to continually build your LinkedIn network. That's the way it works. You get to see people who you're linked with and their connections as well. So let me tell you a little bit about the pit crew. I see several new people here, or new names that I haven't seen before. And congratulations to Brian. He was just a volunteer earlier this week with the pit crew, so that's good news that he's going to get to continue helping out. And so this is how the pit crew works. We help you become a better interviewer, and I don't think it's much of a natural thing interviewing. People are reluctant to, talk about themselves sometimes, to, talk about their accomplishments because they think it's bragging, and they've been taught since childhood that bragging is not a good thing, but it's not bragging if you can do it. That's a famous line. So we give you a chance to practice so you can find out really how good you are at it. And the way that works is you provide a job description and your resume. So the interviews are very customized and personalized to the job description that you provide. And then I have a group of volunteers like Brian who have been hiring managers in the past. So they've hired people as part of their professional responsibility.
Yeah, it's up $3.
And they volunteer their time to give you a interview experience based on the job description and resume you provide. They, besides being hiring managers, have also all been in job transition, and either in the past or currently. I'd say a good 80% of them are currently in job transition. So it's a very sympathetic and empathetic group. It's a supportive and safe environment for you to come and find out where you might need to improve on your interviewing skills. And if you're, a pro at it, we're going to let you know that as well. And then you can go forward with a lot more confidence. So practice early, practice often. You can practice for any stage that you are in the interview, including not even engaged. So you can find your dream job description and send that in, and then get a practice session. Or, it can be a phone interview, first, second, third, fourth round. We'll adapt to your situation and give you a good practice interview. So and the way you do that, again, it's completely free. Just send your information in to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. As a matter of fact, if you have any questions at all about what the Pit Crew does, just send me an email. I probably have something already prepared to explain how it works, and or just reach out to me. So I already mentioned my LinkedIn profile. Let's go on to, I just talked about two-way interviews. The Pit Crew also has a one-way interview offering. Most of you probably may have heard of HireView. I think that's the biggest one. The Pit Crew uses a similar tool called Easy Hire, which is donated to Jeff's organization, and the Pit Crew has access to it. The Pit Crew version of one-way interviewing is just all about giving you a chance to practice. So I'll give you the questions in advance. I give you a link to the tool, and then you interact with it. And after that, I'm completely hands-off. You'll get a link from the tool with your recording of your one-way interview, and then you can take a look at it and make an assessment of how well you did. So that's all the Pit Crew is going after, is to make you comfortable with those one-way interviews. And I got to say, they're really kind of awkward the first time you do them. So I encourage you to practice. So that's one-way interviewing. I also, what's coming up next? Okay, the interview Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. So Eldon already mentioned this. We have 10 sessions. They're being recorded. You can find the recordings and look at the previous ones on Career USA YouTube channel. Next week, Eldon mentioned, is 2 topics: discussing compensation and why did you leave your last job. So that's on the 15th. And then on the 22nd is asking questions. So you may not have thought about all the different ways you can ask questions in an interview and what you might ask about. So we're going to go over that in some detail, Walt and I, in that session. So that's a great session, because asking questions is a great way to gather information. So interest, curiosity, build rapport, has a lot of positive aspects to it. And generally speaking, people who come to the Pit Crew do not ask enough questions during the interview, and don't ask the right questions at the end of the interview. So come and listen to that session, or look at the recording from last time. That'd benefit you greatly, I think. And then finally, let me say that I do one more thing besides all these things I just talked about: the two-way interviews, the one-way interviews, the webinar. I also coach on one topic: why did you leave your last job? So what's coming up next week is kind of a summary of what I teach. But if you have a question about how to answer that question, if you're concerned about it, if it's going to cause you angst, then we should have a one-on-one session, very confidential discussion about your situation. And so you can come up with a story about how to answer that question and any follow-up questions that might be generated by your particular situation. So just reach out to me at dallaspitcrew@gmail.com and we'll set up a coaching session one-on-one. And remember now, everything the Pit Crew does is free. So no cost, absolutely free. Sign up now. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, Walt.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday. Well, what do I do? How can I help you? Well, I also would like to help you with interviewing skills. And so I do it a bit differently. When I lost my job after 25 years and thought, well, I'll be working in the next 3 or 4 months. Actually, it took me 15 months to land a job. And of course, you have to learn how to do the job search. And it's a new job. It's not one that we're trained in doing. And so I went through the same kind of transition. But I did some networking, got an interview, and failed it miserably. And walked out of there saying, you got to do something different than this. And so I developed a model of selling who we are, what we do, and how we can help. That's my definition of selling ourselves. So how do we do that in an interview? So I take a fundamental perspective and a fundamental process that says, how can we learn how to do that in an interview and also differentiate ourselves from other candidates? Now, Mark has been through tons of interviews. I've been through tons of interviews, and we hear a lot of the same things over and over and over again. We want to change kind of, it's not changing how we think, it's changing what we think in an interview. So the process that I help you with is to do exactly that. It's very informal. It's not a mock interview like the Pit Crew is. It's very informal. I only have a couple of people a session. You interview each other. You get a recording of your interview. And then we go through a discussion and talk about how we can improve ourselves to get to that point where we can show some enthusiasm and interest and where we can have some confidence. So we don't start out there. We start out with just how do we go about getting to the point where we can be enthusiastic and interested in our job. I would just like to congratulate Brian on his landing. My middle name is Brian, spelled the same way. So, already, I think just with our names being the same, that's put him one step forward into the job search process. Congratulations, Brian. Good job. I'm really excited for you. The way you heard him describe his job and that it's his dream job, what he loves to do, that's the key. Because when you have that in your mind, then your interviews are going to be different than other candidates. That's one of the key things. So how do you do it? You register with me. You look me up on LinkedIn. On the About section, gives you information. You just send an email to my Yahoo email address, thewalternunnglass@yahoo.com. So you can register. I'll give you some dates of availability, and we can get you scheduled. And I have one slot available for next Tuesday. So I'm going to offer a special deal. And while the workshop is free, if you come to the workshop, I'm going to give you another couple of options. So if you take the free workshop that I offer, you can come back and I'll do a little bit different one. We'll get off the fundamentals and we'll get in towards kind of like the mock side of things, but still on the informal side of things. So preparation is just like preparation for a Pit Crew interview, but we handle it quite differently. So you don't have to sit there and squirm and be stressful in your learning. And that will be free. If you take the first one, I'll give you the second one free. Now, if you come to the second one and do that, I'm working on a special deal with Mark, and I can guarantee you a free Pit Crew interview where you can do the mock interview. So I don't know how you can't, you got to sign up today for this special offer. You sign up today, and I will give you a free interview again and another Pit Crew interview free of charge. I don't see how you can beat that. And we guarantee that you will have a worthwhile time. And if you don't like it and you're unhappy, we will give you full refunds. So why do you have to squirm? No, you don't. So what do I call this interview process? I call it learning without squirming. For practice, you say you're not prepared. I can help so interviews are not impaired. Come register for a future Tuesday and take your interview blues away.
Thank you very much, Walt. All right, it's time to hear the career tip of the week. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. Today's tip of the week is titled Language That Makes Your LinkedIn Profile Pop, written by Terry Saylor. Now, Terry uses the CPA as an example, but I think her advice applies to each of us. And she writes, whether you're launching your career, climbing the professional ladder, or making a job change, the words and phrases you use and the ways you express yourself on LinkedIn can boost your profile and make you stand out. The first key step in this process is building and articulating your personal brand, said Carol Kramer, branding coach and author of LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive. And to do this, try to avoid generic terms applicable to most CPAs, she wrote. There are a lot of CPAs in the world, and assigning simple magic words designed to make all of them stand out will do absolutely the opposite if everyone uses them, Kramer said. Instead, you must be authentic in communicating who you are, what sets you apart from the others, and the value you bring to your profession. Here are 5 ways to demonstrate your personal brand on LinkedIn and make your profile stand out. First, use valuable headline space to your advantage. Your headline, the text that appears below your name on your LinkedIn profile, is small but mighty. Merely inserting your job title or description of your profession is a waste of space, said Sandy Levia. I'd rather see something like a brief elevator speech or a clear tagline describing your value proposition, she said. An example might be a CPA who enjoys helping small businesses grow. Second, identify 3 top qualities you are known for. When you can articulate your 3 best attributes and the reasons your clients seek you out, that's a powerful testimony and a great first step towards establishing your personal brand, Kramer said. You may be well known for your expertise in guiding small business owners, your financial forecasting abilities, or your great people skills. Make your LinkedIn profile memorable by listing these qualities in your headline, in your About section, and your Skills section. This simple act.
Tony, you muted your mic.
Oops, thanks, Jeff. Let me go back just a paragraph. You may be well known for your expertise in guiding small business owners, your financial forecasting abilities, or your great people skills. Make your LinkedIn profile memorable by listing these qualities in your headline, your About section, and your Skills section, she pointed out. This simple act gives you incredible power in terms of communicating who you are beyond your attention to detail and basic accounting skills. Third, use appropriate keywords. Most employers today use automation to skim through resumes, and they rely on search engines to match LinkedIn profiles with the job they're filling. While specific keywords will help search engines find your profile, that's only the beginning. It's important to be authentic, so use keywords you would naturally use to describe your areas of interest and expertise. Avoid generic words that would apply to all CPAs and instead find the words that make you stand out and match you to the opportunities that are just right for you. For example, if you have a passion for strategic planning and excel at it, be sure to include that phrase throughout your profile so potential clients or recruiters seeking an accounting professional adept at strategic planning will find you. Fourth, include recommendations. Strategically crafted client or customer views and recommendations drive business decisions these days. When we conduct online searches for products or services, we look to see what kind of reviews a business has before potentially engaging with them. An employer will ask for references before hiring you, and it helps to include a good number of powerfully worded recommendations on LinkedIn. When you choose recommendations and reviews for your LinkedIn profile, be sure to include those that use some of your keywords and highlight the qualities supporting your personal brand. And fifth and last, highlight your achievements. In the section detailing work experience, most people list the responsibilities they had under various jobs. But rather than itemizing routine duties and assignments, Kramer recommends listing your accomplishments, such as how you moved your firm towards greater profitability, or the way you develop processes and procedures that led to greater efficiency. First, describe in 2 sentences the company you worked for and your job title to provide context, she said, and then use bullet points to outline what you achieved in those positions. Recruiters know that if you achieved great things in the past, you will achieve great things in the future. Articulating your accomplishments will set you apart from other job applicants and make recruiters sit up and take notice. That's it for today's tip of the week. Good luck, everyone, and back to you, Jeff.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, coming up here in just a couple of minutes, we're going to find out, where do you fit into the kingdom? Here are all the different titles of what you could be. Hopefully you took the Kingdomality test, so you know where you fit. So we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes here. But I want to talk about our upcoming sessions. Next Friday, the 17th, we'll talk about fireproofing your career. On the 24th, Walt Glass will be with us to talk about informational interviewing. All right, so I've known Mike for, boy, I was trying to think back how long it's been. I mean, this is back from the old Career Connections days. This is probably 18, 19 years now I've known Mike. And, you know, when I first saw him present about Kingdomality and where do you fit, it was like, well, this is really interesting. And it was really great to hear how Mike used it as a project manager in the teams that he was building. So Mike is a senior IT delivery director and operation manager. Mike, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, how y'all are? Things are good here on Zoom.
We are.
Hey, Jeff, before I get started on this, I sent you an email. I have a lead for an InfoSec PM, full-time job. Not just a normal IT PM like me, but for an InfoSec background PM. So if you know somebody, send them my way.
I will send that lead out to everybody this afternoon.
All right. Do you want me to share, or are you going to share?
I'm going to let you share unless.
All righty then. All right. Let me go here, find my button that says share screen. Okie dokie. We're going to talk about Kingdomality. Did everybody take the test, or the vast majority take the test? You know, Jeff?
I do not know. It's you know, it's really difficult. I was hoping that today would be our first session. I've been planning for the last several months that this would be our first session back in person, where we could actually be together. And because I know that you like to group everybody together so they can find out, you know, all the different kinds of jobs that are in a black knight or a white knight or a minstrel or a merchant. You know, Delta variant has caused us not to be able to meet in person yet. So so I don't really know who's taking it or who's not taking it. Some of the people are putting in their in the chat window what they are. So
I see some of that. So at least, you know, Jeff, as you know me, and mine's going to be the last one on the list there. At least I don't have the dreamer minstrels or the helpers or the white knights, you know, throwing things at me because of my personality. So this is just a fun thing to do that we've been doing, as Jeff said, 17, 18 years or something. I do it once a year with Jeff's team, and it brings all of the different personalities or attitudes and so forth from Briggs Myers. And when you have 16 of those, we break these down even further. It's don't go away from here. This is not based on science. This is not based on, you know, actual like Briggs Myers or DICE or any of the other personality profiles that are out there. What it does take, though, are the personalities, and group them together, that if you lived in the medieval kingdom during Game of Thrones, who would you be? And looking at, as I'm going to page down here.
I will send this presentation out to everybody this afternoon. So just FYI that you will get a copy of this, so you don't have to take real detailed notes.
Okay, yes. So I'll scroll back up here in a second for where it is. I'm going to go to the picture here. The cultural groups, we have the northern people, the challengers. We have the southern people, they're emotional, they're the helpers. We have the eastern people are the maintainers, they're realistic. And we have the western people, the explorers, and they are creative. So at an overall look, we're going to get to the individuals here. The northern people here, let's see, here we go. Don't mean to make y'all seasick. The southern people, y'all are the nice guys. My mother was a southern people. My daughter is a southern people. My youngest son is a southern people. Y'all are harmonizers. You don't like discord of any kind. When I talk to somebody, I get told all the time that I need to straighten up my attitude and I need to be nice. And I said, it had no value on what I said other than that's the fact. But harmonizers take a lot of what us northern people, the challengers, say as being judgmental, being condemning, and we're creating discord and disharmony within the group. And they feel compelled to make sure that everyone is happy. Providing a sense of humanity, they provide a sense of belonging, and we'll talk about, like the shepherds in here, have a flock of their own within the group that they take care of, and they make sure that they are well taken care of and that they know everything. So for instance, the shepherds will come forth and they will tell their flock, there's donuts in the break room, or we got new creamer for the coffee in the break room. They'll make sure their people know. They like this harmony. They like the feeling of belonging to the group. They're hot-blooded and passionate about issues. Just name the issue, it doesn't matter. They have a feeling about it. They love causes, they're idealistic, even if the idealism is not practical, it's not economical, it's not logical. They have a cause, they love the cause, and they move forward with the cause. They also appreciate recognition because emotions rule the way for the Southern people. They're known as our helpers. We need these helpers in our groups. The Northern people, I'm a Northern person. My oldest son is a Northern person. We're strategists. We pursue the most efficient and logical path, even if it hurts your feelings. That's why the Southern people aren't crazy about us. We rarely play for fun. My wife, we've been married 34 years, and to this day, she tells me if we're going to sit down and play a board game, that I have to play nice. I'm going, I don't play nice. I play by the rules. We're not changing the rules, and we're going to play to win. And I'll give you a quick story. We learned a new game called Cube, K-U-B-B. It's a yard game, and some people know it as Viking chess. Look it up and find it. It's a great yard game. We were playing it this summer. Her sister was in from Utah. Part of the rules are you cannot throw the baton overhand. You can't throw it sidearm. You can't whirly-bird it over. It must be thrown underhanded and in a straight line. Her sister throws it sidearm. She looks like a major league pitcher throwing a curveball. And I said, foul, that doesn't count, set it back up, and the fight was on. I don't play for fun, I play for the score. That's the challengers. We have a motto though, better, faster, cheaper. We don't accept goals that others set for us unless we find those to be logical and fulfilling and that they make sense. We'll set the goals. We can be argumentative and cantankerous, so don't tell me this is all wrong, because I'll tell you why it is right and why this is a lot of fun. We're often unaware of the impact the questioning can have on others. But when I ask a teammate a question, did you think about this? In fact, before I got on here, I was Skyping with a teammate. Did you see the SOS Skype from so-and-so? Well, if he doesn't know me, he'll put value on that of, am I checking up on him? Am I controlling him and telling him he must get on even though he's on a different call? But he knows me and he knows there's no added value other than we have a teammate that has an SOS call that needs some help and he just needs to get on as soon as he can. But our impact on others, we can be seen as rude and abrasive. We are the challengers. We challenge the company, we challenge the teams, we challenge the individuals to move beyond where they are. The Eastern people, You guys are what make the world go round. You have a strong sense of right and wrong. You have a conservative outlook and a high regard for the chain of command. You're exceptionally organized and detail oriented. The people, when you walk in your office and the lights come on, the air conditioner's on, you have Wi-Fi set up, your computer works, everything works in the building. Eastern people, they have rules, they have authority. Don't break the rules, don't think outside the box. This is how we do it. This is how it works. We're not going to change steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because it always works and it's always consistent. That can be seen as unreasonable and rigid. They don't see a need for change. Whereas a challenger or a Western people will come along and we'll say, we're going to make this change or that change in the company or in the group. They have trouble seeing the necessity for that. They are our maintainers and we must have them or things just won't work within the group or the company. They are our stability. The Western people, visionaries, fascinated by the future, interested in new things, typically very creative. You give them a job to do, and in the middle of the job, they've gone, oh, new star, and they've headed off to follow something new. They may seem absent-minded or disorganized and distracted. They can be impractical and unrealistic. Let's go do blank. Let's try blank. They are explorers. They have the attitude of what's the worst that could happen if we do blank. As you can see, maintainers and the Eastern people and the Western people, the explorers, they tend to not get along so well. They have to learn to work together because you got to have both. Now, as we see the challengers at the Northern people, logical. The helpers, the emotional people, are the Southern people. The maintainers, very realistic. And then the explorers and the Western side, very creative. These are the groups that describe 12 personality groups or 12 tribal groups. Which one would you belong to? Now, on the clock dial, these have been broken down to 11, 12, and 1 would be challengers. 2, 3, and 4 o'clock are going to be your maintainers. 5, 6, and 7, your helpers. 8, 9, and 10 are going to be your explorers. See where we fit in the kingdom. Now, for those that have taken it, we're going to start at 12 o'clock and work our way around the clock. The Black Knight, love the Black Knight. My oldest son is a Black Knight. These are the most challenging, pun intended, because they're challengers, the most challenging group to deal with in your company, in your group, in your family. Their overriding goal is to win. To this day, if I make a comment of how beautifully bright and yellow the sun is outside, my son will tell me the sun is not yellow, it has no color, it's the atmosphere and all the haze from the California fires that are adjusting the color that we see in the rainbow hue. Goal is to win. They are the warriors of the realm. They are always looking for the challenge. So if you have an issue, a problem in your company, in your group that you need to have solved quickly, you want to find the Black Knight in your company. Might hurt some feelings along the way, might ruffle some feathers along the way, but they will win and they will get it done. But here's the cool thing about the Black Knight. They're very persuasive. They're very charismatic. They're very logical. So when you know you have a Black Knight within your group, when you want to talk to them and you sit down with them, you better have your ducks in a row. Don't off the cuff invite a Black Knight in for a discussion about process or about anything, actually, but especially I'm in IT, so I talk process everything. You don't want to bring them in and talk about that. They already know their argument and they're persuasive of why they're right. They formulate solid strategies and they use their skills to engage others. Before you know it, you're working with the Black Knight and you're doing things and they've assigned and have you headed down a path that you didn't head down this morning. And you're happy about it. They just persuade you to go with them. Black Knights, though, never involve themselves in an activity that they don't see a reward for their effort. They look at it, what will this give me in the end? Whether it's emotional, whether it's financial, whether it's a plaque, whatever it is, just the fact that they won for what they were doing. But their efforts, what they do, benefit their followers, they benefits their allies, even though they're analytically empathetic and logically persuasive. They don't persuade you with emotion. They persuade you with all the reasoning, all the logic of why this is right. And you can't help but say, well, that makes sense. So you end up going with them. Now, on the negative side, they can be perceived as being in your face, blunt, just brutal, saying what's on their mind. So they can be seen as arrogant, selfish, and impulsive. When you deal with the Black Knight and a Black Knight is talking to you, always remember, don't put any value on what they're saying beyond the words themselves. Now, if that makes sense to you, is somebody says or asks you a question, why did you do this? We tend to want to put a value of, oh, you're judging why I did it. You're judging that I didn't do it your way. You're judging and condemning me for my decision to do something. Don't do that. It's a simple question that desires a simple answer without any other judgment. The Black Knight will tell you you're wrong, you're failing, you're not going to succeed flat out to your face, whether you like it or not. So if they're not telling you you're stupid, then don't add that value to what they're telling you or what they're asking. They're just unemotional, they're logical, and they're sometimes will ask you, they can be impulsive to ask or tell you something without really thinking about what the consequences are going to be. So the Black Knight, they like winning. They want rewards, whether it's a plaque, whether it's a diploma, whether it's money, whether it's being promoted. They just want to win. I won, therefore I get to go. They're masters of their own fate. They don't want anybody else deciding what they're going to do. They hate losing. They're not being rewarded, and they hate an ill-conceived campaign. So if you're a boss who is not a challenger and you come up with a campaign, Black Knight shows up in your office and says, this won't work. Here's why this won't work. At least give them the time of day and listen, because I promise you, they have a well thought out campaign. They have a well thought out process. They have a well thought out plan for succeeding. So give them the time of day, even though you may not like their brusque personality, but I promise you, they have a plan. And the majority of the time that plan is going to work. Okay, the merchant, also a challenger, always competitive like the Black Knight, except that the Black Knight wants to win for winning's sake. The merchant wants to win for winning the deal. They want really something tangible for what they did. They're always in the art of making a deal. So they may have a plan, they'll come to you and instead of telling you like the Black Knight, this is how you ought to do it and you're stupid if you don't, the merchant comes in and says, I tell you what, if you do this, I'll do that. They always want to make this deal. If you let your team do this, my team will do that. They will negotiate everything. They have realistically analyzed every situation for its profit potential. What can we get out of it? They don't mind negotiating as long as they win on their end with that negotiation. They'll keep their options open so that they can maximize the reward. That's part of the negotiation. I'll give up something in order to win more, but you have to give something on your side. They can be logically practical, rational, realistic, just like the Black Knight. What they say makes sense. But you got to remember the merchant, though, when they start negotiating with you, think, oh, that's a merchant. They're wanting to make a deal. Well, let's make a deal. Let's see what we can do. Let's negotiate this out, and both parties can win. But they could be rigidly dogmatic. and they'll be unmerciful and precipitous. They will take advantage of you if you are not prepared. When they come to negotiate, when they come to make a deal, if you don't really know what's going on, if you don't really know how this ought to work, or if you don't really know what the outcome of the project or the effort or whatever you're looking for, if you don't really know what the end of that is, the merchant does, and they will negotiate the deal to their benefit. You'll still win some, but not what you could have. So know what you're talking about before you deal with the merchant. They want to make and close a deal. They're calculating, and they're calculating the potential of the deal. And whatever they're offering to you, it sounds logical. But they don't want to be rushed into a decision. Anytime you deal with a merchant, and whether they're at Best Buy or a car lot, it doesn't matter. Anywhere that they're told you have to make the decision by 5 o'clock today, or you have to make the decision in the next 3 days, they'll most likely just walk away. They don't like an ill-conceived plan, just like the Black Knight. They don't have the tolerance or the patience for it. They want a plan that's thought out, that's planned, that has the most chance of succeeding. And they don't mind not having all the details. If they've got 60% of the details based with their history of knowledge in the company or the area of expertise that they have, they will take their knowledge, add it to the details of this, and they will walk forward and head toward a goal. Okay. Jeff, if you would, if you see a question or something come up, because I'm not watching the chat, I'm watching this. So if you see something come up before we get too far down, then just let me know and we'll stop on that question there.
Will do.
Okay. Engineer builder at 2 o'clock is part of the maintainers. They are the perfectionist of the kingdom. The perfectionist. They stick with the plan. They get the job done. Their motto is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They provide structure and stability to the world, a no-nonsense approach for resolving problems. They're not going to go out on a limb. They're not going to try something new. And I mean, I'm oversimplifying it here when I say this is the same screwdriver that I've used for 40 years. I'm not going down and buy a new Craftsman screwdriver. This one gets the job done. I'm not changing it. I'm not going to use a drill to put screws in. This is my Craftsman screwdriver from 1973. This is the one I use. Or this is the Pentel pencil I've been using since 1971. I'm not going to a new pencil. If it ain't broke, they don't fix it. No nonsense, no surprises. They offer results and they have a low tolerance for ambiguity. So whatever you have an engineer builder on, now let me throw this in, one thing that we need to pay attention to here that I didn't do at the beginning. The Black Knight, the merchant, the engineer builder does not mean that like the engineer builder is totally engaged in engineering. They can be a lawyer, they can be a doctor, they can be any profession out there. Any one of these personalities that are in Kingdomality can be in any profession. The point is you bring this personality to the profession, to the company, to the group. It doesn't matter if you're a preacher in a church. If you're the engineer builder, you're not even going to try the new Holman Christian translation of the Bible come out. You've been using King James for 45 years. You're not changing. That's the engineer builder. But they offer results. They have a talent for spotting inconsistencies and improper reasoning. They see it. Now we'll get to me. I'm at the last. I'm number 11 o'clock. I'm a prime minister. I see this big picture. The engineer builder spots a little molecule out of place. They spot the jot and tittle. I can read my resume. You guys were talking about resume review and all that. I read my resume 47 times, run spell check 47 times. And on the 48th time spot, I'm missing a period. I have no idea where that came from. I need an engineer builder to go through it and spot that little inconsistency. That's just easy for them. It jumps out in front of them. They're practical, they're just, they're realistic, they're pragmatic, and they're rational. That's the good side. On the negative side, they're dogmatic, rigid, short-sighted, indecisive, and unimaginative. You think about that. When you have the engineer builder as a maintainer in your company, you know you have this stability. No matter what else happens, they will stick with the tried and the true, and they will continue down this no nonsense, practical approach, making sure that you're stable. You need this. You can't have the other personalities in the company and not have a maintainer in your company. This is what keeps you stable and afloat. So they like applying technology to problems. They will do that. Let's instead of using paper, let's use digital. They will go for that, but they want to make sure that digital works all the time. They want to get the job done. They provide structure to the group, to the company, to the plan, but they don't like inconsistencies or improper reasoning. So when a Black Knight or a merchant or the prime minister, when us challengers come forward and we have a plan, they will look for and find inconsistencies in the plan. It's easy, they just see it. They'll find improper reasoning. We say this will work, and it doesn't matter that we went from step 1, step 2, step 5. It doesn't matter because this will work. They're not going to go on that easily. They don't like extraneous issues. They don't like things that just clutter up the thought process. They don't like things that clutter up the office space. They don't want all of this ambiguous or extraneous issues, problems, thoughts to the side. Stick with the main thing. Then we come around to 3 o'clock, the scientist, also a maintainer. They subscribe to the scientific method. The data creates the conclusion. You have to have the data. You have to put the data in. You have to follow the scientific method, and therefore you will come up with the right conclusion. They're known for analytical. They're not known for people skills. All right, now some of y'all may know some of these. Analytical, not people skills. They can be perceived as rude and uncaring. So Sherlock Holmes, intellect and curiosity are both a curse and a blessing. They want to research. They want to look it up. They want to input the data and see what the data spits out. They want to see how that is. On the positive side, they're rationally imaginative and realistically perceptive. They're not as dogmatic as the engineer builder, but they're still very stable. They're very logical in the fact that we must use the scientific method. We must follow these steps in order to come up with the solution. If on that negative side of that, they can be nearsighted, narrow-minded, and rigid in the research methods, unwilling to skip a step, unwilling to add a step. So they like to search for knowledge. They're interested in that. You have a project, you have an issue at work, you've got a problem. See if you have a scientist and have them go research this out. I know it was 5 years ago, and you've got to go find where these issues are. My wife is an accounting generalist at a company, and now they have the auditing firm is looking for information back on taxes from 2016, 2 years before she got there. She needs to find a scientist in the group to go research all of this back to 2016 and find all of these tax statements that they're looking for, because she just feels completely overwhelmed. She's a helper at the bottom. So all of this research, this looking for knowledge, being able to analyze it and critique it from times before she got there feels overwhelming to her. But that's what the scientist wants to do. They are the keeper of the knowledge. I've got a cousin that worked for Raytheon that was a keeper of the knowledge. He was the scientist. When 2 years before he retired, he told me, I finally have a job in an office that people come into my office all day and ask me questions. I finally get paid for what I know. Didn't have to work any projects, didn't have to work on anything else, but to sit as a vice president in an office and have people Skype him, call him, email him, walk in his office and say, what about such and such? Because he's been with Raytheon 3 decades. Using his knowledge, they're the keeper of this knowledge. and utilize them, use them. They hate disorder. They hate speculation. Well, I think that this is going to be such and such. No, they're going to take that knowledge and they're going to run it through the scientific method process. And they're going to say there is no speculation. Here's what the data shows it's going to be. And they hate heretics. The heretics being the ones that let's just guess, let's throw the dice, let's run this up the flagpole and see if it flies. No, they want a process. The scientific method process, input data, input data, input data, see what spits out the other side. Okay, 4 o'clock, we go to a doctor, another maintainer. The doctor is not necessarily a medical doctor. This is a personality. They're professional, they're calm, and they're curious. Just like the medical doctor who can stand beside your bedside with your arm cut off while your artery's bleeding and say, bet that hurts, doesn't it? They are not emotion and feeling based. They're reality based. They work with a sense of mission and purpose. So they're not misled with misformed ideas. They're not given to radical or high risk experimentation. Just like the engineer builder, just like the scientist, they follow tried and true methods. They think about things that if it cannot be seen, heard, felt, smelled, touched, they don't want to think about that. They're not interested in the mental peripheral thought process. They have to touch it. They have to see it. They have to feel it. They have to experience it. And if they can't do that, they push it to the side and then they go for what they can actually work on. They're exceptional experts in their particular area of profession. Wherever that is, whatever company that is, they're going to be your expert. They know everything from the day they walked in. You can ask them, what about, how do we do this? How did we do that? They can remember things that other people cannot, of how you solved this problem 14 years ago. They deliver and maintain consistent and beneficial service or advice to others. Whatever they tell you, they'll tell the next guy if it's about the same problem. It's consistent, but it will also be beneficial. They can usually control their own emotions. If they're losing their emotions, there's a problem. But on the negative side, they can be quite resistant to change or bold decisions. So when we get to the Western people and we talk about the explorers have a brand new idea, let's turn this company upside down and let's implement this new bauble, whatever it is. Let's create the pet rock. The doctor is going to fight that all the way through. They don't like the new bold decisions. This is, even though they can touch it, they're going to have to come on board with it, and it may take them a while. So they like having a mission and a purpose. They like solid procedures, and they like realistic structure. They want fences inside the company, inside the group. These are the fences. This is what we do. We don't step outside of this. We don't experiment over here. We stay within these boundaries. They're very happy, they're very comfortable, and they're very productive. They don't want the chaos and disorder. The Western people on the other side, the explorers, they're like, hey, the wind's blowing, let's go which way the wind's blowing. More chaos, more disorder, and we have to have them too. They don't want wild or irresponsible experimentation. They don't want impatience or foolhardiness. They want it thought out, but they want it to be tried, true. All three of these on this eastern side, tried, true, way we've always done it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. They want the stability. And on the other hand of that, we get the stability. Well, like I said earlier, when we walk into the company, the lights come on, the air conditioning or the heat comes on. Our desks are there, they're put together if we've ordered new desks. Our computer comes up, the Wi-Fi works. Everything in the company works because we have maintainers that do that. One thing about the maintainers, bosses, whoever's a boss, no matter what side you're on, the maintainers are the quiet ones. They'll sit in front of their computer screen, especially in IT. They'll send emails, but they won't walk to somebody's desk. They don't want you walking to their desk. They are just there, just under the current, keeping things running. And they get overlooked the vast majority of the time because we walk in and we take for granted that the lights come on or my computer works. And we don't pay attention to the fact that we have maintainers doing that, and we don't give them the recognition and the compliments or the rewards or the raises that they deserve, because we go for the flash, the front person, the black knight, the merchant who is sitting out front and making decisions. They're in front of everybody's face. They have the visibility, and we tend to overlook the maintainers. So I encourage you to pay attention in your company, in your group, even in your family. Who are your maintainers, and give them the recognition that they so justly deserve. Thank them for what they do to keep things running. All right, let's go around to 5 o'clock to Shepherd. Shepherd is part of the helpers at the bottom. My mother was a shepherd. I've worked with a couple of shepherds in the group. Shepherds drive me crazy. I thought that they, until I fully understood who they were years ago, I thought they were the nosiest busybodies, getting in everybody's business and driving me nuts. And Jeff knows this story. When I used to work at AT&T, or actually it was Singular Wireless at the time, in a war room, and we had all of these programmers in a room, and it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm working an overnight shift, and Anissa says, "Mr. Mike, Latoya's computer, she can't get logged into the Unix box." And I'm thinking, Latoya's late 20s. Why can't she tell me? And I thought Anissa was just getting into her business. And then a few weeks later, I gave everyone in the room the Kingdomality test. And of course, Anissa came out to be the shepherd. They are the nicest, and they tend to their human flock. I had a couple of shepherds when I was at the Federal Reserve Bank. But you cannot put yourself into their flock. They will fight you off like a lion and a tiger and a bear. But they will grab you up if they want to, and they will bring you into their flock. My mother was that way. My mother would bring certain ones into her flock, but if you tried to get in, she just, vicious. Wolf dog, push you off, get away. You cannot put yourself in, because if you're trying to put yourself into their flock, they don't trust you. But if they want, it doesn't matter, male or female, they will bring you in. Like I said, especially the shepherd will come across around the cubes in the office and say, "There's donuts in the break room. We got new creamer for the coffee in the break room. Hey, we're going to have a fire drill at 2 o'clock. So grab your computer bag about 1:50. So when we go to fire drill, you can just go home from here." That's the shepherd. The shepherd will come forward and tell whoever's in charge, so-and-so is having computer trouble, when whoever it is just doesn't want to get up and come tell you. They tend to the human flock. They understand the needs for those that they want to be responsible for. You may not want them to be responsible for you. You may think, just go away and leave me alone. But they've adopted you. They're vigilant. They're reliable. They have an obligation and a commitment to you. If they put you into their care, if they brought you into their flock, they're committed to you. They're dependable. They engender a feeling of comfort and stability. For a challenger like me, this is very difficult. To have somebody want to come take care of me, I'm grown. I can do it myself. I can tell somebody. So I have to back off my personality, and I have to say, "Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will take care of that." And that's effort for me, but they will do it. That's what they're there for. They know what's good for the group, and sometimes individual members, they will call you out. If it looks like you're not playing nice in the group, they'll just call you out, and you'll be eliminated from that group. So they can be empathetic, caring, understanding, practical, and realistic, but they can be manipulative, closed-minded, and sentimentally rigid. My mom was the manipulative for her flock. "Oh, I take care of you and I do these things." Y'all know the people I'm talking about. I cook for you and I iron your clothes and I get you up in the mornings. Or if you're at work, I told you about the donuts and I did this and I did that. And I told you about that we were going to have this meeting and we were going to leave early and you didn't care. And they will call you out from that. It's like being manipulative. So You guys have to be careful about doing that and understand that when you're taking care of your team, you've got to do it from the positive side. They value the relationships, even if you don't want one. And if you don't want one and they want you in their flock, they'll figure out how to get that relationship. Whatever that it requires, whatever that looks like, even if it's distant, even if it's only over chat, if they want you in the team, they'll figure out how to make that happen. They want cooperation and they want camaraderie. They don't like disharmony on the team. They want a structured, warm environment. Everybody gets along. Everybody shares their lunch. Everybody takes a nap after lunch and nobody kicks sand. They want all of this nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. That's the way they are, but they're great to have around because people like me who are challenging and in your face, people like the maintainers who are pretty much cold and distant because they're all about the process. The shepherds come along and within us create a warm environment, create relationships, create harmony within the company. They don't want a traitor and they don't want to have to enforce any rules. They don't want to come to you and say, you know what you should be doing and you're not playing nice. And they also don't want any harsh criticism. So if you're a challenger or you're a maintainer and you want to tell a shepherd something that they should change or they should think about how you word that, because you will crush them if you do it harshly. So before you go to a shepherd and talk to them, run it over your head 8 or 9 times and then figure out how to do it without a lot of negative value on it, that it's practical, but it's all structured of hear my heart, hear what I'm saying, not what you think I'm saying, and have a conversation with them. Shepherds, gotta love them. Like I said, my mother was one, got to grow up with one. White Knight. White Knight, my daughter and my youngest sons are White Knight. They are a crusader and they believe and fight for a cause as long as they perceive that cause to be just. Whatever that cause is, I mean, they go to town for it, but they're a helper. The more forbidding the challenge, the more they want to jump forward to that challenge. They expect nothing in return for their good deeds. My youngest son has had a Taekwondo class or a school for the last 20 something years. Yeah, he gets paid for it, but what he gives are the life lessons. He doesn't just teach Taekwondo. Every class, 3 times a week, for as long as they're in the class, he sits down and gives them life lessons. He talks to them about how to succeed, how to be a good person, how to get along with others. He teaches them how to be adults, even though they're 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, 12. Some of them are grown men. He still sits down and talks to them about how to live into the world. This is a White Knight, the true givers of the world. When Hurricane Harvey hit, my daughter lives in Santa Fe, Texas, south of Houston. When Hurricane Harvey hit 4 years ago, her washing machine and dryer worked, whereas many of her neighbors were flooded out. She had them all in her neighborhood come one by one and bring their laundry. She washed and dried and folded their laundry for them to give back. These are the givers. Nothing in return. They're anonymous philanthropists. They share their wealth, they share their time, they share their life. My daughter's on Facebook and has day 126 of year such and such of being married to her husband. This is what we did, sharing the life all the time, share the life. Giving is its own reward. And the other White Knights that I know, you just don't expect it. You show up at their house, here, take these cookies home. You show up, at work and they're, hey, we got new highlighters and I got you one out of the back. So I brought you a blue one and an orange one instead of just a yellow. Givers, they bring it from home. To give is its own reward and they seek no other reward than that. If they get it, fine, but they're not looking for it. So accept from them. It's hard sometimes to accept what we didn't ask for and what we think we should pay for. But if that's a White Knight, you're probably going to hurt their feelings. If you try to pay them back for something when all they want to do, all their personality is to give. They're merciful, they're sympathetic, they're helpful, they're giving, they're heroic. But on the negative side, they can be impulsively decisive, sentimental, and misdirected. They can be very much I feel like I should go do this. I feel like I should quit my job. I feel like I should move over there. I feel like I should do this or that. Impulsively decisive rather than rational. So they need someone to counterbalance them with rational decision. Not saying that what they're doing is wrong, just sometimes that's going to have a heavy cost involved with that. So they want a crusade. They want to be recognized for going on the crusade. They want to be recognized for all of their ideas and their principles that they live by. They do not break those principles, but they loathe the mercenary because they give, it's their personality. The mercenary is there just for the money, not to benefit anyone else. So they loathe that mercenary person. The unfeeling obstructionist, me. They have trouble getting along with me. They loathe shallow values because their values are deep to the core. It's in their DNA. Whether you agree with their values or not, you cannot change them. It's theirs. They own them, and they're not going to change them easily. So they want people that they deal with to be like-minded, or at least if you're opposite-minded, whether it's political, whether it's religion, whether it's how to raise a family, it doesn't matter. Even if you're opposite, if you have solid values, they'll be friends with you. Doesn't matter that you're opposite. What they don't want is somebody who's just wishy-washy in their values and their thoughts. Dreamer minstrel. They always see, they're also a helper at the bottom of the clock. They're the most charismatic in the kingdom. They see the silver lining and the pot of gold in every issue. Jeff and I've known some dreamer minstrels that we both know over the years, and you're out of work, dreamer minstrel comes along, puts their hand on your shoulder and says, it's going to be okay. Well, I was out of work for a year, lost my house, lost my first BMW, lost 3 401ks, and no, it ain't going to be good. It hurts. The dreamer minstrel wants to make lemonade out of lemons, and me, I've got lemons, and I'm not making lemon pie or lemonade. It hurts. But the dreamer minstrel is there to pick you up, to lift you, to give you be a positive optimist for you, to give you hope for the future. Emerson said, if there is no hope, there can be no endeavor. So the dreamer minstrel is the one who comes along, and no matter how unrealistic it may seem to some of us, they give us that hope. It will pass. This too shall pass. It may hurt. You may think you're dying, but it will pass and you will be okay. So there's nothing so terrible that the dreamer minstrel can't find something good in it. But they can be spontaneous, charismatic, idealistic, empathetic. You need them on your team. You need them to lift the other people up. But dreamer minstrels, you got to be careful about being sentimental dreamer. You've got to be careful about being emotionally impractical. So you need to think about, when you're lifting people up, are you being impractical in what you're saying? Are you just glossing over the hurt of the lost job, or the hurt of sickness, or the hurt of divorce, or whatever that hurt issue is? Don't be a sentimental dreamer. You can be idealistic, you can be empathetic, but don't be emotionally impractical in it. So they love motivating others. They love meeting new people. They walk in the room and go, hi, I'm so-and-so. What's your name? Great. Bye. Hi, what's your name? They want to go. They want to have fun. If you want to have a party, find the dreamer minstrel. They're going to line it up. You're going to have fun. You're going to have people there, and they're going to keep the party going. Don't put them in an office. They want to be out with people. If they're in an office, they're going to keep the door open, and they're going to look out. You'll find them out of that office, walking through the bullpen, going by cubes. And whenever you're planning something and you say, hey, this Saturday, we're going to go out to eat. They want to know what time, where are we going? How many people? What's the dress? What are we going to eat? and they want all the details. Give them everything. Now, on the opposite side of this, at the top of the clock is the merchant, right? The merchant wants to negotiate. The merchant wants the deal. The merchant wants to win in the deal. And the dreamer or minstrel struggles with that cutthroat competition, or the Black Knight, or the prime minister. They just have trouble working with us because they see us as cutthroat, as non-sentimental, as unemotional. So we have to figure out how we're going to work with them. So lots of details. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. They hate the lots of details. We're going to have a party on Saturday, and they say, that's it, great, I've got it covered. Want to go out to eat on Saturday? They're like, I've got it covered, I'll take care of it. You don't need to tell me any more than that, other than maybe how many people are coming. So I got that wrong. 8 o'clock is the benevolent ruler. We're getting over into the challenger. I mean, not the challengers, the explorers now. Benevolent ruler are visionaries of the kingdom. They are idealistic social dreamers. They want to solve the problems of the world. Even if you have, like I said, in IT, I work on process. The benevolent ruler works on people. I work on getting my teams to solve processes for technology, infrastructure, software development. They're solving the people problems of the world. So if you have a benevolent ruler in your group, and you know that you have issues within your team, within your company, within your family, you want to find a benevolent ruler to help you work through the problems, the human problems, the people problems of your world. They're social reformers who want everyone to be happy. Everyone should share their toys. Nobody kicks sand. Everybody takes a nap after lunch. They are exceptionally perceptive about what's going on with mankind. Benevolent ruler can walk into a room and spot people who are happy, and spot people who are sad, spot people who are angry. They're exceptionally perceptive about seeing in the crowd what's going on. They have an understanding and a skill to conceive and implement solutions to your perceptions. Now, here's the benevolent ruler. Benevolent ruler says you're having this issue, whatever that is. It doesn't matter, fill in the blank. And the benevolent ruler is going to say, well, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they're going to give you steps. They know exactly what the solution to your problem is. And you still want to talk to them for 10 minutes. You need to go find one of the helpers, a shepherd, a dreamer, a minstrel. You need to find one of them to go talk to for 10 or 15 minutes. Because when you've told the benevolent ruler has seen the problem, they know the solution, and they've given you the steps for that. When they see you again and you tell them, oh, woe is me, things are tough, they're going to ask you, did you do step 1? Well, no, I didn't get around to that yet. I was busy, and they don't want to talk to you. You have to have completed step 1. And if you say, well, yeah, I did step 1, great. Now, when are we going to do step 2? They know the solution, and they want you to implement that. They are ideologically concerned. They're charismatic, they're persuasive, and they're creative in their persuasion. Whereas us challengers, we're pretty straightforward. It's going to be logical, and we're going to hurt your feelings, but it's going to be persuasive, and we want you to follow us. The benevolent ruler, they'll come at you and you won't even know it, and you'll be following along saying, oh, this was great, and I did everything they said, and everything got solved, and I feel better. So, but on the negative side, they can be unrealistically sentimental. They can be scattered, they can be impulsive, and they can be deviously manipulative. So when you go back to the benevolent ruler and you say, well, I didn't do step 1, their devious manipulation comes into play at that point. And then it's push you off, and I don't want to talk to you. And you're going, wait, I thought we were friends. I thought we were doing this. And they manipulate you into going and doing exactly what they told you to do. That can be negative, that can be positive, but they're here to solve the people problems of the world. They share their vision with others. They appreciate an audience that is alike with them, and they want loyal followers. They don't like it when you doubt their vision. They say, well, here's the steps to fix that. and you go, well, I don't know. You don't know that other person. You don't know the problems we're going through. You don't know the dynamics of the group. Don't doubt their vision. They see things that you don't see. They don't like it when their leadership is questioned. So if a benevolent ruler is boss, manager, owner, they're going to have problems if a challenger comes up or a maintainer and says, we don't need to change how we do it, especially a maintainer. We don't need to change how we do it. This works. This has always worked. This will continue to work. There's no reason for us to change. They don't want their leadership questioned. They don't like a lack of commitment to others, that we are not committed to each other. So benevolent ruler, they'll solve your people problems of the world. And every company has them, every group has them, every family has them. They just want to be appreciated for what they do. The bishop at 9 o'clock, they're the politicians, they're the diplomats of the group. They are also convincing and persuading. They have a talent for giving ideas reality. They have a talent for making the unreal seem real. They have an uncanny ability to feel comfortable on either side of the argument without committing to either side. Makes a person like me just want to strangle them. Because pick a side, pick whether it's right, pick whether it's wrong. I can be talking Cubs and Cardinals, and they'll go, well, the Cubs have so-and-so and the Cardinals have this, and they won't commit to either side. They won't even go and commit for the Braves. They just are the politicians and the diplomats. They are, for people like me, they're hard to get along with, but they are thoughtful. They will test your loyalty. They want to know if you are loyal to them, even though they are not as dogmatic in a decision, dogmatic in an idea, as dogmatic in values as they are. But are you loyal to them? They can be imaginative, they can be realistic, they can be pragmatic. But on the negative side, they can be devious, short-sighted, and rigidly impractical. So the diplomats, politicians, devious, short-sighted, that kind of goes hand in hand. That's who they are. But on the positive side of being that, by not being locked into anything, their imagination and how their imagination can become pragmatic is amazing what they can accomplish. They like giving opinions, then they may change that opinion. But today, this is what I think. They like leading discussions to hear what everyone has to think, especially if you're in IT and you understand Scrum or Agile, Safe Agile, and you understand these processes. You want to lead a discussion that's not strictly by a project plan, or you want to look at options for your company or for your group. They want to lead that discussion. Let them do it. Because they won't commit to either side. They're going to bring everybody's idea in. They're going to give value to everyone's idea. They want everyone to brainstorm. They will bring you into that without committing, so that anyone who is talking doesn't feel like they have disappointed or betrayed the bishop by not agreeing with them, because they're not committing to any side. They also don't like it when anyone questions their ideas or challenges their facts, and they hate a lack of faith in their concepts. So it may seem chaos, it may seem idealistic, but they believe in that, and we need to give them a chance to run forward with that and give it an idea. And for the rest of us, we need to figure out a way to take those ideas and then make them realistic. That's the bishop. Okay, and number 10 is the discoverer. They're the idealistic people of the kingdom. They go where no one else has gone before. You give the discoverer a job, a project, an effort, whatever. You give them a goal. They're delivering the goods to the next country. They're sailing out into the ocean and they're delivering the trade goods. And suddenly one night the clouds clear and the discoverer goes, new star, change the sails. And they will go off course to go follow the new star. They want to go where no one else has ever gone before. Had a girl that worked for me one time, and we were not quite on the web yet. We were still doing things on dry ink boards. We were doing utility billing. And we were timed every day that we have to have certain billings out by 4 o'clock. That means they have to be processed, printed, stamped, put into the bulk mailboxes at 4 o'clock every day. One of our guys goes to the bulk mail center to mail. It has to be done because the law demands that it has to be postmarked by this date every day. In the middle of the day, she comes forward and says, I've got a better idea. She's a discoverer. Like, you have a job to do and we're time stamped on this job. You've got to go do this. But she went somewhere no one had ever gone before and renovated the company. The point is, though, for the discoverer, we've got to have them hold steady, complete the job, and then we've got to make arrangements for them to go and discover. So I had to make arrangements on a day, half a day. Somebody else could do her work on one of the slow days, and then she could go forward and develop a whole new plan of how we kept up with what we were billing. Renovated the company, made it much simpler. But they want to do it, they just get sidetracked and they head off. So it's not unusual for them to continue to challenge themselves with new situations or obstacles, ones they create. I work with many people who create their own forest fires. I have to come along and put the forest fire out. And they say, I don't know what happened. I was going down here and we were doing this, and now we're in a world of hurt. People like me that come along and put this forest fire out, they create it. But that's who they are, finding something new. When we put it out, we can go back and we can evaluate and we can say that was good up to this point, or it was good all along, but the company's not ready to go there yet. I've actually taken ideas like this that were 2 or 3 or 4 years old, the company was not ready for yet, and then taken them and implemented them. It was a forest fire back then, and it worked perfectly now because of changes that we had made and how process had changed. They're insatiable as an explorer of people, places, things, and ideas. They want constant change, which is the antithesis of the maintainer on the Eastern Shore. Constant change. They're creatively rational, open-minded. They're just, anybody has a new idea, they're off and running. Let's go explore that. Let's go that way. On the negative side, they might be impractical and indecisive procrastinator. They are constantly looking for the new bauble, the newest thing, the thing that glows. So they like new people, places, things. They want something new, something different. They're not an antique buyer. They want the newest car. They want the newest computer. They want the newest phone. They follow impulses. They hate having to repeat something. Not like repeat saying something, but repeat a process or repeat a way that we do things. They don't like following routines or schedules. They don't want to be boxed in. You want to grow your company. You want to go new directions. You want to find the next greatest browser that's out there, find a discoverer and let them go find this for you and create it for you. And then we come to the prime minister. That's me. I'm a strategist who pursues, I'm a challenger also. This is at 11 o'clock. I'm a strateger who pursues the most efficient and logical path toward the realization of the goal that I perceive, the goal I visualize. And I don't care who gets in my way. I can be very blunt. Inept assistance can be immediately discarded as excess baggage. You're either on with me or you're not. You're either in my way or you're helping me get to the goal. Climb on board or not. I'm a bold decision maker. I'm rationally idealistic and I'm ideological. I'm a risk taker. I'll move your company, your group, society ahead by years instead of minutes. The prime minister, our attitude are such with the rest of y'all out there that our attitude is this: I would agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. So on the negative side, we can be unmerciful, impatient, arrogant, impetuous, and impulsive. This is the way we need to do it. This is the way we're moving forward. You put me in charge. This is what we're going to go do. I have to watch those things. We like power. Yes, indeed. We like getting results. We like a winning strategy. Don't come tell me what the rules are. I already know what the rules are. And we're still going to win by my rules. Being in the spotlight, you know, when we're not prepared, especially, like here I am doing this for you guys, that's okay. but all of a sudden to be called on a conference call, put in the spotlight, and I was busy triple tasking and doing something that would actually accomplish my goal of what I was doing. We don't like that. We don't like ineptitude of others. I've had people tell me, well, you know, she comes every week, you know, like at church, she comes every week and she works over here and she does this. I'm going, I don't care that she shows up every week. She's inept at what she does. In the company, I don't care that the person who is doing this job is the sweetest one in the company, but they're incompetent. I'm prime ministers. We are very much about that. So we have to really watch our attitudes. We watch people wasting time. We don't see that. Why aren't you being productive? And that doesn't mean that you're not thinking about something or so forth. It's that you're doing work that's not getting you where you want to go. So we hate that, and we have to watch our attitudes a lot. When I talk to people, especially the helpers at the bottom, like my daughter, like my mother, I have to talk in a way that doesn't offend them and then gets them on board to my plan. So I'm fond of saying that I will get you to play my game and like it. So this is Kingdomality. Challengers, maintainers, helpers, and explorers, so forth. So I'm not, for lack of time, we're at 11:12. Jeff, you're going to send this out. They can go and read at the bottom some summaries of what we're talking about here. And then I'm going to turn it back over to you, sir.
Well, Mike, a couple questions. Number one, how, you know, for somebody, you know, everybody here is looking for a job when they do land a job. Some of you or some of the people here are managers and stuff. How do you implement this? If you want to just, you make this sort of a fun Friday afternoon task, you know, with ice cream, what do you mean? How would you go and bring this into your workplace?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I would do, it may not be ice cream, but yeah, I would do something like that. I go with the group and I try to limit it to 24 or less if we can, for the particular group that I'm working with. And probably the war room I had probably had 36 people in it. I give them the link. I have them go take the test. I give them about a week. And then as the prime minister, I come through and go, did you take the test yet? I told you to go take the test because this is what's going to make us more efficient. After we take the test, I take an hour like this or so, and we all stop our work and we get together and then I talk about. But as you said earlier in the meeting here, I would always do this in person. So I'm grouping people and we're looking at different personalities doing different jobs within that group or within that company. So we're looking at a shepherd who does, and there's 4 shepherds and all 4 have a different job, a different role, a different responsibility. The point being is whatever your role is in the group, this is the personality you bring to that role. So I may not be the owner of the company or the boss of the company, but just as an IT project manager, I'm bringing this prime minister role. So I'm not stuck on the minutia of the project plan. I'm looking at the overall goal and I'm headed towards that. And that's what we find within the groups when you do this. When you sort them out into their different ones, and then you say within that group, whether it's Black Knights or maintainers or helpers, you say, what are each one of your jobs? Now look how you bring that personality to that job. And then everybody gets a new appreciation of who is who on their team.
So how do you do this in the family? You have a family meal, sit down meal and talk this out?
Yeah, we did. When I first learned how to do this, we did. We had everybody take it. And although I know my wife is a helper, I know, but she won't take the test. I know she's a white knight. She's very much a giver, but she won't take the test because she doesn't want me to know so that I can manipulate that against her. She likes to say that I am the head of the family, but she's the neck that turns the head, and she doesn't care what her role is in this. So.
Questions anybody has? If you have a question for Mike, please unmute your mic and ask away, please. Question? Well, Mike, thank you very much. I mean, I always enjoy this presentation. I know it's a lot better when we're in person because you do get people really get to see that they're, everybody who's an engineer isn't truly an engineer. You're one of many different things and you do different kinds of things. So I always find this just a great presentation. It's always fun. I'm glad that, you're able to help us out. So thank you very much for being part of our presentation today.
Appreciate it.
Next week, our speaker is going to talk is Pete Havel. He's going to talk about fireproofing your career. So we'll get that out to you. Like I said, I will get out to you, everybody, this afternoon, the presentation from today. In fact, I've been editing and updating the presentation that Mike had. So I've added a few things to us that he mentioned. So you'll get an updated presentation here in a little bit. All right, let's see here. If you have not put your 30-second introductions into the chat box, please do so I can get you up on the roster and I'll get you this presentation out this afternoon. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Hopefully you'll join us. We put on over 350 workshops since COVID started. Next Tuesday, LinkedIn Tuesdays, will be Locke Alderson talking about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. Next Wednesday, as we've talked before, session number 7 on Interviewing Wednesday, discussing compensation and the circumstances around leaving your previous position. Next Thursday, being the 3rd Thursday of the month, will be all about resumes. We'll talk about resume writing rules that put you ahead of the competition. And that'll be with Carol Buckel. And then please, just as a reminder, this session has been recorded. You'll be able to go back and listen to it and watch it as often as you like. It'll be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, click on playlist, and then at the very bottom, select whichever topic you want, and then click view full playlist, and then up will come a readout of all the different titles and topics that we've talked about. And you can go back and watch any one of these. The most current one should be on top. So thank you for joining us today. Mike, once again, thank you very much. Everybody have a great weekend. And we will see you all next week sometime.
See you, Jeff.